Welcome, everyone, to the Best Damn Podcast. I am your host, John Keene. As always, I would like to thank you guys for joining me. Ask that you please add, follow, and check us out, www.thebestdampodcast.tv. Follow me, Instagram at Best Damn Podcast, Twitter at The Real Best Damn, and wherever you're watching from, please make sure to hit that like, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, let me know what you think, and share this link. Get it out there, spread it far and wide. That way new people can find us and new people can see us. And make sure to subscribe. And don't forget to click that bell. That way you guys get all of the notifications. And keep in mind, guys, we are completely viewer powered. That means we're fully funded and supported by you, the listener, and the viewer. So if you'd like to donate, the links are in the description box below. PayPal, Venmo, Patreon, Cash App, or Facebook Messenger Pay. And we are at the end of the month, going into a new month. This is that time where we ask everybody to please consider donating and supporting. Just step up and help us out. This is how we keep the show going. This is how we pay for everything. That way we can continue to bring the content nightly that we bring. And this is also my livelihood and how I take care of myself. So asking everybody in the fam to please help me out and give if you can give and donate if you can donate. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Consider joining the Best Damn Fam, $35 a month. You guys can get access to our private live shows over on the Best Damn Podcast Discord, as well as our private Dropbox that's got all of our uncensored shows. It's an entire playlist, over 100 videos, and it's all the stuff that's never been on the public platforms, Truth Telethons, Troubled Minds Radio, and, all the stuff pertaining to the jabs and all of that we can't talk about. January 6th, Capitol, all of it that we can't talk about, because of community guidelines. It really is an awesome investment because nobody's putting out content like that. Also, consider booking your own personal tarot reading. They are $50. Well worth it. We sit down. They take about 30-45 minutes long. You get your reading within 24 hours of purchase, and you just do that by going to PayPal, Venmo, or Cash App and just putting in the notes or the description, tarot reading, and then you text the number in the description box below. We'll book your reading. I can either send you a personalized video or we can do it via Zoom or Discord. It's totally up to you. Or consider getting your own personal soul profile. They are $100 and it's a personal tarot reading. Also with a personal astrology reading. On top of that, we go and look at your name with the gematria associated with your name, the etymology of your name, the ley lines that you're born on, your numerology, your life path. Even the elements and all of that. It's really, really cool and something that kind of can give you great detail into the algorithm of who you are, so it's pretty fun. You get that within 3 days of purchase. And if you need your links to the private content, if you've donated and supported, and everybody who donates and supports from today forward, this will count for the month of September since we're already so close. And just because we had such a hard time getting the support we need in August, I'm just going to go ahead and open it up now to try to get ahead. That way we can reach the monthly goal and get the help we need. But everybody that supports now, you'll get all the month of September as well as, what's left of August here. You just text 513-393-2396, 513-393-2396, and you text links if you need the links to the Dropbox, or if you have purchased a tarot reading, just put, hey, I bought a tarot reading, this is the time and whatever I'm available, or the personal soul profile, same thing. Like I said, that takes 3 days though. I was going to do a collective tarot reading tonight, but I had technical difficulties. Every time I try to use Restream now, which is a service that we pay for, it just seems to really, I don't know, it's just screwy. It's just screwy. So I said, fuck it, why not? Let's just go ahead and talk about some interesting things that are taking place right now. We live in a very interesting time anyways, and I feel like we don't really focus on the things that are actually most important. The things that really do have substance. It's always about kind of grabbing the headlines or clickbait and all of that. And it's like, man, that kind of gets old. It really does, because there's so many other things that we could really be discussing that have so much more depth to them and could really take us further in our own spiritual journey and kind of as a collective. So I just want to start tonight with the attitude of gratitude and say thank you to each and every one of you guys that take the time to watch. I appreciate all of you guys, like, honestly, from the bottom of my heart. All of you guys that share these links out there, that engage in the different groups and discords, and you follow on the different platforms, and especially those that are kind and generous enough to help out with their hard-earned money. Without you guys, flat out, there wouldn't be any videos, there wouldn't be any show, any channel, and I wouldn't be able to take care of me. I wouldn't be able to help my babies or anything like that. So big ups and big thanks. On an astrological note, we are entering into the new moon in Virgo. So Virgo season is beginning, so I kind of want to just start it there and talk about what that kind of means. Now, you guys remember we've had these major points of manifestation just recently, the 8/8 Lionsgate in Leo season, the new moon in Aquarius, right, setting all of these boundaries, and now we have the new moon in Virgo, and an eclipse actually is coming up as well, and Virgo season officially beginning, and with Jupiter retrograde, us getting ready to go into Mercury retrograde, we can expect a lot of changes. First and foremost, we are in an astrological time that nobody that is alive on planet Earth has ever experienced before. That in itself, to me, is fascinating. That means no matter what expert comes out and says, like, no matter what you're being told by the experts, these expert astrologists and all of that, and spiritualists, nobody has a real fucking clue of what this is going to mean for all of us and how we're going to react to all of this, right? We have some really funky energy coming in, and what I think we do know is that as we go into, this full Aquarian cycle, that we are more conscious and aware of the celestial energy than we ever have been in times previous, right? We are far more conscious and aware of it. So this is an opportunity for us to capitalize on it bigger and better than we ever probably could have in any age before now. Remember, the Bible talks about this age and how knowledge will increase, right? Well, if you can't tell, it's increasing. And in spiritual knowledge in particular, for lack of knowledge, surely my people will perish. I feel like that's what they're talking about, is be aware of what energies are prominent. Be aware of the different alignments. Be aware of, your unique individual makeup and how it is affected by all of this. And that's why the soul profile and tarot readings are really important. They give you insight into yourself, the energies, and all of that. But be aware of the things that are going on around you. And that's why this channel and a lot of the topics we cover are important, because it gives us a look at what the powers that be are trying to push as far as agendas, where they're trying to lead us. Because you have to understand that they go by the stars too, right? Like whenever they decide to go to war, whenever they decide to implode a system, whenever they decide to roll out a scamdemic, anything like that, they're going by the stars and they are capitalizing on those energies and using them in a form of mass manipulation, right, to the masses, the population. One thing that I have noticed recently is that as we enter this season, more of the manifesting is not going to be so much about what we want to manifest. I feel like at this point, all of us should have in our minds like what we want for ourselves. If you are truly on the path of ascension, you should have a general idea like right now, like what kind of life you want to live, what kind of partner you want in your life, how you want people to perceive you, how you perceive yourself. For the most part, a lot of us feel as if we know what our role is in this world, or what our calling is, or what we're called to do, or we feel like we're getting really close to that. So the Virgo energy is more about organization and taking advantage by creating the stepping stones to get to where we want to be, right? So essentially, if you want to manifest a new car or a new house, this would be the time to kind of create a plan on how you're going to cover those payments, how much money you will need, things like that. The stepping stones of how to get there. You want to start a new career? Well, if you want to, read astrology or tarot, you need to buy decks first, right? You need to be able to have a setup and able to do that. You want to start a YouTube channel, right? This would be the time to start, creating the accounts and putting the stuff together. That's what this is, right? Because Virgo is all about organization. It can even be a little bit of perfectionism to the point to where we kind of overly procrastinate. Trust me, I am a Virgo, so my birthday's coming up very soon. So I know all about the procrastination and being a little too critical or too much of a perfectionist, which if you would like to send me a birthday gift, a birthday donation, I would be grateful for that. So I'm encouraging people to consider doing that as well. If you don't want to give for any reason, you can give for that one. Also, though, Virgo energy is about nurturing. It's about healing. It's about intuition. And it's about service to others. Okay? So these are the things that we can also capitalize on in this moment as well. Right? Kind of tapping into our nurturing side. Tapping into more of our intuitive side. And figuring out what it is we can do to really kind of be a benefit to other people, to how we can help others the most. And with anything astrological or otherwise, I always say it's best that we turn it inward first and then let it become an outward expression of who we are, right? So make sure that, because a lot of service to other signs, and I think I said this the other day, and I can just tell you from my own experience because I do it. Virgos, especially in this energy, especially can have a tendency to martyrdom almost, right? Like you don't want to make yourself a martyr by serving others. So don't extend yourself when it comes to, being nurturing and generous and all that to other people. Make sure you're doing it and you're tapping into that energy because you want to collect on the benefit of that energy. So you got to go with the energy that's flowing right now. But don't overly do it and forget to nurture you, right? And forget to heal you. Because in my opinion, that's where it always begins. It starts with, learning how to love ourselves so we can effectively love other people. Learning how to be comfortable in our own skin so we are comfortable with the differences of others. Learning how to deal with our own insecurities. So, we aren't so quick to be critical. of others and theirs, and that's kind of like the overall theme of this month and this new moon to me. It's like really looking out for you and nurturing you and healing you. That way you can really be effective when it comes to the way that you heal others and you serve others. And like I said, taking those stepping stones piece by piece, being very meticulous and using your organizational skills to get to where it is you truly want to go. And right now we should all have that in our mind's eye, like where it is we want to be, what really makes us happy, what kind of love we want to manifest, all of those kind of things. And we live in a world that's incredibly shallow. Just to kind of put it quite simply. Anybody that steps outside of the spiritual community, I think, would agree that our world is one that is revolving right now currently around being, self-serving, self-centered, and it's almost because we're always like chasing celebrity or chasing money or chasing this, chasing that, it kind of can turn into a real, a shallow feel, so we got to make sure that there's depth to the things that we're doing. We got to make sure that we're creating meaning even where there is none. And that to me is one of the hardest fucking things there is to do. Try, and this is probably one of the reasons why I have avoided what you would call the normies and shit so much, because it's hard to make other people see something that is deep or feel something that is deep if they've never felt the depth of themselves. Right? Or they don't see the depth and the beauty in the creation around them, So it's hard to kind of convince people, that everything does have meaning, and that each and every one of us are special, and that we all have gifts, and, so I think that, as always, in any season, any energy, any sign, right, there is the inverse of that, right? So you're going to have those that are tapped in, turned on, right? And they're going to be tuned into the esoteric nature of shit. And they're going to be like, yo, all about healing people right now, all about serving people right now, giving, loving, being kind, really feeling the vibes of that energy, right? And really drilling in on that. But you're also going to see probably the majority of the population go on the exoteric route and do the alternate, because sometimes when we are givers and shit, we attract takers, so just kind of be careful of that and make sure that you don't fall into that trap or that pit either. A lot of the spiritual community acts like it's never okay to be depressed. It's never okay to be sad. It's never okay to need something or ask for something or whatever, right? Like, fuck all that. We're all human at the end of the day, and we have to look at one another with compassion and, understand that it does not make you weak, people, if you have a bad day and you're depressed. Right? Like, that's perfectly okay. Everybody in the spiritual community wants to act like if you're depressed and something's wrong with you. Right? Oh, that's a you problem. Just, you should be perfectly happy and, delightful and floating on a cloud every day if you're spiritual. Well, that's just not even fucking realistic, for one. And that's not true, for two. Right? We all have the ups and downs. And we don't even always have to have a reason of why we feel down. Sometimes we're so sensitive and so intuitive. If there's just a lot of heavy shit in the atmosphere, that can bring a person down. Not to mention looking around our world today and just kind of, seeing how fucked up it is and how screwed up people really are. That's a bummer. That's a bummer. Try like going out into the dating world and all of that, or business world, or whatever world you're entering, and then getting that reality check. I don't give a fuck how many yoga mats you kick it on and how much you meditate. When you step out into the real world and you get slapped with that reality that not many people are on that shit, that not many people, are truly in tune with themselves or truly in tune with spirit at all, it can get a little depressing. It can get a little hectic and a little chaotic. And that's why it's so important for us to really manage that. And considering the Mercury retrograde too, this is something big. Like, we got the Jupiter retrograde, which I feel like hasn't been nearly as rough for me, at least, as maybe it has been for some others. I told you that a lot of what was happening from May 1st till now was going to come back and kind of revisit. We were going to get a chance to kind of revisit lost treasure and shit that we missed out on, or kind of look back at opportunities and situations. And I don't know about you guys, but I must have not missed out on much fucking opportunity, because I didn't have a whole lot of opportunity pop back up on this Jupiter retrograde, right? So I'm just saying. And, back in that new moon in Aries and stuff, like, I was trying to create new beginnings, and new beginnings, I'm sure, are manifesting in their own way now, but, they had nothing to do with what happened on May 1st in my life. I don't know about you. I know everybody's experience is different, and the things that did revisit wasn't the best things for me. Like, I had some fucking shit shows going on back in May. So I was hoping those energies weren't about to revisit. Now, going into this Mercury retrograde, we know that this can have a lot to do with communication. All right, so let's kind of be, how should we say this? And I believe Gemini is exalted too. So we're going to have like a big chance on, we need to be careful on how we communicate right now. There's a lot of miscommunication during times like this. There is a lot of returning of exes, returning of unfinished business and shit like that too. You guys always know every time Mercury retrograde rolls around, and because I'm a Virgo and I'm ruled by Mercury, it's always a fuck show for me, and it never fails. Some ex that I probably don't want nothing to do with comes creeping back into my life, or trying to creep back into my life some way, shape, form, or facet too. I don't know about you guys, but every Mercury retrograde it happens to me, but we can have a lot of miscommunication. So during this time, we need to be really clear, especially when it comes to what we want to manifest and what we want to attract. Really clear. You're just trying to learn from these shit shows. Hey, Mel, I'm right there with you. I'm trying to learn from these shit shows too. And I feel like maybe I am, but here, let me pull up a chat here. Let me get a chat going. I feel like I need a chat tonight. I feel like I need a chat or something. Let's see if we can get a chat popping here. Give me 1 second. I feel like I'm learning from these shit shows. I really do. I feel like, for the most part, I'm picking up good experience. But, sometimes I tend to repeat shit, man. I tend to repeat shit that I don't want to fucking repeat, And that's what it is about karmic cycles. And hopefully, if you are entering into this time now of this new Aquarian energy, most of your karmic cycles, you've done defeated them, so to speak, or you're not going to be dealing with them. There we go. We got us a chat up now, so at least we can see what everybody's saying here. Let me go ahead and move this over. Thank you, everybody, for joining me, too. If you guys are in the chat right now, make sure to hit that like, hit that thumbs up, share this link, get it out there. I didn't promote this video at all. This is just kind of spur of the moment shit. And subscribe, click that bell. And like I said, we are at the end of the month. August was the worst month I've had in a long, long time for support. So I am begging the family to please donate support now. Go before we even enter September. That way we can actually have some prosperity going and good moods going and all of that. I would love to have a good birthday month. It'd be awesome. And it is a service to others month, so it will benefit you by giving. And you're late. Your birthday's September 6th. Well, you know what? I'm a Virgo, and like I said, you're in the worst financial shape too. Yeah, you know what? And that's, I feel like that's kind of probably got a lot to do with, the Jupiter retrograde, that Jupiterian energy a lot of times revolves around luck and shit and can pertain to prosperity and stuff. So we should be coming out of that, especially as Jupiter, enters back into Pisces and shit. We should not be feeling it as hard, I don't think, as we enter, closer into the end of the year. I do think on the global stage, I've said this quite a bit, and we got double asteroid redirection test this month, which, if you see, they're saying that it's right on track. It's gonna, slam, right into, the asteroid like it's expected to. We're gonna see, DART confirmed on target to impact asteroid Dimorphos, and remember that the celestial energies, these celestial energies, they come from more than just the stars. This has to do with, everything from asteroids to meteors to comets to the whole nine. So, everything that's going on above our heads in the heavens does affect us. And like I said, with the Mercury retrograde, we need to be really careful on how it is we communicate with people right now, because there can be a lot of miscommunication. So especially in particular in relationships, business deals and negotiations, at work, whatever it may be, make sure that your intentions are incredibly clear when you are speaking them. Make sure that you have the right emotions or passions behind whatever it is you're trying to say. And I did see this thing where it says, if you're angry or something, that anger, the emotion of anger, typically only lasts 8 minutes tops. So anything after that is just you being in your head. So I feel like these karmic cycles, that's what they're trying to teach us, y'all. It's like how to really evolve. Like, how can we actually grow from these things from the past? And how can we learn to better manage our thoughts, ourselves, our energy? How can we learn to better manage our emotions? And how can we magnetize and be magnetic in our own stability, in our own, core of who we are, and not really be spewing our energy everywhere else, and be very careful with what energies we're connecting to as well. It doesn't matter if it's a YouTube video or it's just people that you're kicking it with on the street. I feel like we're all being taught hard lessons like that. Whoever we bring in our life, we bring that energy, of them in with us. We bring that energy of them with us. And I feel like a lot of people have been getting humbled in a lot of ways during this Jupiter retrograde, because that's what it's actually about, right? It's like kind of slowing down your horses and saying, some of you may have bitten off more than you can chew, and I feel like that's always the key, right? Is humility, and it's a fine balance. Really trying to stay humble in all that we do and still have that kind of inner self-confidence and inner knowing, but remember, humble yourself and be exalted. Exalt yourself and you'll be humbled. So it's really your choice on how you want to go about that. And as long as we stay genuine and true to ourselves, I don't see how we can go wrong especially moving forward. And as long as we're making sure that everything is about introspection and looking inward first, right? And making sure that we're healed where we need to be healed and we're good where we need to be good, and then taking that and kind of spreading that beauty and spreading our love to other people, then we're sowing the seeds that we need to sow, and we're doing the things that we need to do to make sure that our reality is in balance. Things are going to get really chaotic. I think by October, things are going to be really fucking chaotic. And I mean, I can actually see, in my opinion, I have, this feeling. You can call it intuitive or whatever, but I feel like a lot of people are being confused by all these energies, and that's what's causing even the people that consider themselves spiritual to the point where they're just, burying their fucking heads in the sand. They're like, yeah, I don't understand what's going on. I'm not really sure what's going on. So, I'm gonna hide from it. I'm gonna hide from it. I'm gonna pretend like it's not happening. And that can create, a little bit of an escapist attitude, escapist mentality. And that's never a good thing either. So let's take a look at a few of the articles that are coming up. The same birthday as her daughter. Well, there's a lot of good, people are Virgos, I feel like, a lot of good Virgos out there. So, DART confirmed on target to impact asteroid Dimorphos. Using some of the world's most powerful telescopes, the DART investigation team completed a 6-night observation campaign last month to confirm earlier calculations of the orbit of Dimorphos, DART's asteroid target. Dimorphos in orbit around its larger parent asteroid Didymos. And think about that on a spiritual level. How, essentially we all really have our big soul and our little soul, and they're sending this spacecraft or this rocket, if you will, a weapon basically to try to knock one of them, off course. I feel like on a collective level, isn't that what's happening to all of us right now? We're all being trying to knocked off our course. We're all trying to be distracted away from our purpose, brought out of our true core, our true power. I've talked a lot about, the spiritual implants and AI and what's really going on with all of that lately. And I feel like everything that you see in the media, if you look at it on a spiritual level, it's very indicative of what's actually taking place in the spiritual realm, in the battle that is of the unseen, right? Where and I even heard somebody say that really right now there's a choice. You essentially have to give up your body if you want to keep your spirit. I don't know if I buy into that or not. It was Dave Dobbs that commented on one of my last videos, and he put out a really good video, not a couple days ago, and he time marked a place he wanted me to go watch, and I went and seen it, and he was talking about as this blue Kachina and shit, makes its pass, and we get ready for the purifier. Remember the blue Kachina dances in the plaza, removes its mask, right? And we got this Didymos and Dimorphos, this binary pair, just like red and blue Kachina, just like your Ka and Ba, your big soul, little soul, right? Light and dark. It's always on every level of reality, and he was saying that in his video that, that's the choice, that people are making a conscious choice, and there's no right or wrong choice, on what we want to pair with. Are we going to pair with our shadow side, or are we going to pair with our spirit side? Says the measurement the team made in early 2021 were critical for making the DART arrive at the right place at the right time for the kinetic impact of Dimorphos. The DART investigation team, led by Johns Hopkins University and Applied Physics Laboratory in Laurel, Maryland, confirming the measurements with new observations shows us that we don't need any course changes and we're already right on target. And it makes you wonder, what's the actual target? What are they targeting, right? Like if we look at it from that kind of perspective, because we also know that like I said, as we move closer into October and we get more and more of the meteors and more of the celestial phenomena, we will probably get a lot closer to global conflict. Send Air Force F-35s to Japan. The U.S. Air Force has operated 5th-generation aircraft for nearly 2 decades, but is yet to station most of its advanced aircraft in the Indo-Pacific. The Department of Defense's priority theater, Admiral John Aquino, the commander of U.S. Pacific Command, wants to see that change, calling 5th-generation capabilities critically important to the ability to deliver deterrence. It's time for the U.S. Air Force to send 5th-generation aircraft forward to bolster deterrence in the Indo-Pacific, expand opportunities for allied cooperation, enhance the combat credibility of the U.S. Air Forces, and accelerate implementation of Agile Combat Employment, or ACE, scheme of maneuver. Today, the Air Force stations exclusively with 4th-generation fighters, F-16s, F-15s, and A-10s at 6 bases west of the international date line, 3 in Japan, 2 in South Korea, and 1 in Guam. The oldest 5th-generation aircrafts are stationed in Alaska and Hawaii, east of the international date line and thousands of miles away from key terrain in the first island chain. By contrast, Air Force selected RAF Lockheed in the United Kingdom as the first F-35A base in Europe back in 2015. Evidently, the Indo-Pacific doesn't just trail Europe as a posture priority. In addition to the active component, the Air Force have stationed F-35As at no less than 3 Air National Guard bases and at 1 Air Force Reserve base in the continental United States. A 4th Guard base will begin receiving F-35As in 2024 and several other under consideration to receive the aircraft. And that's what I mean. We're seeing all these drills going on right now. The upgrade, 5th generation, 6th generation, right? Silent warfare, all this different technology that's being put into place, and stationed all across the world. And these are critical points, especially when you look at, seismic and fault zones. Especially when you look at that, it lets you know where the pinch points of World War III will actually be. Right, I've mentioned this a million times, how North Korea made statements about Japan being sunk underwater. We see, in so many ways, just North and South Korea. You look at even Vietnam, right? These are representative of that same North-South civil mentality that we see within ourselves take place, of the higher and the lower. But it's all over the world. And right now, we have that mentality going in the left-right paradigm here in the U.S., and they continue to push that divide and distract people. I mean, we literally just did a video on the Trump warrants and all that shit, right? This is just to keep people locked into the theater while they continue to strategically, place military and implement, different weaponry all over the world, and they're setting up for something. The question you should really be asking yourself is, why are all the world governments coordinating together? Why are they all drilling for these large-scale conflicts? And why does it seem to coincide with a million fucking meteors and fireballs and large-ass asteroids and the most intense climate changes you've ever seen? In history. And it also seems to coincide with these astrological changes that nobody on the planet is familiar with, right? Like I said, nobody alive has seen these energies before, so nobody really knows what's going to come of any of this and when it's going to come. Meteor crater, the hole from space that keeps on giving. Research pays off from this out-of-the-world meteor crater are ongoing. The huge bowl-shaped meteor crater in Arizona that was surprisingly formed some 50,000 years ago continues to yield new information, surprisingly so. In addition, it is a go-to spot for preparing Artemis crews how to explore the moon, and the place one did train Apollo astronauts for lunar duties in the 1960s. And I don't know if you guys have seen any of those fucking videos of the Mars shit, where they're literally like they've got the Mars bases in the desert of Arizona. I don't know if you guys have seen any of that. It's like, but I'm kind of in the camp of I don't believe we go to space. So, this training, inside of meteor craters and shit, it's like, that's probably the closest they're ever going to get to touching any crater of any sort. Like, they're not going to the moon. They're not going to Mars. They set up these things down here, and they essentially extort all the people that give their billions and billions of dollars in tax money, for these different ventures. I've even said in the past, too, if I ever wanted to have the best fundraiser ever, and raise money for the channel, and just, or anything, right? It would be a mission to space. For whatever fucking reason, that's a gold mine. You tell people you're going to mine an asteroid, or you tell people you're going to go to the moon, or, and then you don't even have to bring back real evidence. It's computer generated imagery of all the planets. It's, it's nonsense, evidence. It's like, of Mars and all that shit, these robotics and these fucking grainy ass images that look just like places on Earth, and literally all the time, they have flaws in their evidence to show that it's probably not real, and a lot of even the technicality of it doesn't make any sense, on how they actually get there. Just like DART, double asteroid redirection test. Like as if they could literally smash a tin can into an asteroid and it would knock it off course. It's like, man. If people were only willing to fund real things like they are for a bunch of, fake space bullshit. I feel like we definitely missed the boat on that, We missed out on that one. We should have tried to start a space mission on the Best Damn Podcast years ago. U.S. sends 2 warships through Taiwan Strait in first transit since the Pelosi trip. Well, you already know. 2 United States Navy warships have entered the Taiwan Strait in what is the first U.S. naval transit in the waterway since U.S.-China tensions spiked this month over a visit in the island by House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. The guided missile cruisers USS Antietam and USS Chancellorsville, god damn, those are some hard names, on Sunday, making the voyage through waters where high seas and freedoms of navigation in overflight apply in accordance with international law. The U.S. 7th Fleet in Japan said in a statement and said the transit was ongoing and that there had been no interference from foreign military forces so far. These ships are transiting through a corridor in the strait that is beyond the territorial sea of any coastal state. The ship's transit through the Taiwan Strait demonstrates the United States' commitment to free and open Indo-Pacific. United States military flies, sails, and operates anywhere international law allows, it said. John Kirby, spokesman for National Security Council, told CNN's Jen Scioto on Sunday that 2 U.S. Navy warships transiting the Taiwan Strait sent a very clear and very consistent message that the United States military will sail, fly, and operate wherever the international law permits us to do so. This was planned long ago. And, that sent a real clear message. I mean, is it as clear of a message as China sends by simulating attacks on Taiwan right in front of us as we're kicking it in the water out there? I don't think so, but whatever, right? Like, if, to me, geopolitically, this shit is, it's just as much theater as, anything else. Like, we look at our politics, on the national level in the U.S., and it's just the same. Geomagnetic storm watch updated. NASA's Artemis 1 moon rocket could blast off during a minor G1 class geomagnetic storm on Monday morning, August the 29th. If a CME grazes Earth's magnetic field as expected, this is the same type of storm that brought down dozens of Starlink satellites in February 2022. There's nothing to worry about this time. NASA's massive space launch system should roar through the minor storm with no problem. Another strong solar flare. Departing sunspot AR 3088 unleashed another strong flare. An M, looks like it's a 6.7 class explosion shown here in extreme ultraviolet image from NASA's SDO. You guys can actually see the image right there. That is a pretty intense flare. Radiation from the flare caused shortwave radio blackouts over the Americas, and ham radio operators may have noticed unusual propagation effects at frequencies below 20 megahertz, such as an hour after 1619 Universal Time. The explosion also produced an impressive CME. It was directed mostly from away from Earth, but could have a small Earth-directed component. Let's actually take a look at it right here. Right, there's the actual CME there. I've seen way worse, so I mean, but the radio blackouts and shit like that, I just think they're prepping us for that stuff, guys. That's going to become more and more of a thing. It's. But what about this? Lightning strikes Artemis 1 launch pad 2 days before the liftoff, and this is. Remember the Artemis Accord, right? This came out shortly. This is peace on the moon. Okay, so like as if there's war on the moon. Anyways, I don't know, but this is why launch pads have lightning towers. Lightning crackled August 27th over the launch pad 39B at NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida, which will host a highly anticipated liftoff of the agency's Artemis 1 moon mission on Monday, August the 29th. The bolts came close to the Artemis 1 stack, the Space Launch SLS mega rocket topped by an Orion crew capsule with 3 even hitting pad 39B's lightning towers. So, let's see here. A weather team begun an assessment that includes collecting voltage and current data as well as imagery. The data we share with a team of experts on electromagnetic environment efforts who will determine any constraints on vehicle or ground systems were violated. Engineers will conduct a walk down at the pad tonight and, if needed, conduct additional assessments. And let's actually take a look at that. Should be right here. Or not. I think it done past here. But, I mean, there's no telling if it actually even struck it, just to keep it all the way fucking real. Let's just be honest here. Most of the shit that comes out is lies, so. Almost 10,000 meteors hit the Earth every year. How many meteorites hit the Earth every year? Fewer than 10,000, but it's dangerous for living organisms. And have you seen a shooting star? Well, these are not exactly stars, but burning rocks from space into Earth's atmosphere. According to the information provided by the American Meteor Society, meteoroids are the smallest member of the solar system, and whatever meteoroid plows into Earth's atmosphere will create a brief flash of moving light in the sky called a meteor, which appears to be a shooting star. If remnants of the parent meteoroid survive the trip through the atmosphere to reach the ground, then these remnants are called meteorites. And think about the fireballs, too, and the numbers that have increased over the last couple of years. But how many hit the Earth's surface every year? It's very rare that a giant object hits the Earth's surface. Generally, most rocks from the Earth are small. Relatively few survive entry through the atmosphere, causing no threat. But according to a report by Live Scientists, scientists estimate that fewer than 10,000 meteorites collide into the Earth's land or water, which is a drop in the bucket compared to the moon, which doesn't have an atmosphere and get hit by varying sizes of rocks from about 11 to 1,100 tons, or metric tons, a mass of about 5.5 cars, of space rocks and dust per day, and about 33,000 ping pong ball sized space rock collisions yearly. To estimate how many meteorites successfully hit the Earth each year, Tancredi analyzed data from the Meteorological Society. From 2007 to 2016, there were 95 reports of meteorites falling to Earth, averaging a rate of about 7.9 reports per year. So there you have it. They were measuring about 33 feet, which are expected to enter Earth's atmosphere to every 6 to 10 years. Rocks big enough to generate an explosion like that of Tunguska in Russia happens about every 500 years. And a major cosmic impact from a rock about 1 kilometer wide is estimated to happen every 300,000 to 500,000 years, whereas a collision like the one that ended the Cretaceous period and obliterated the dinosaurs might take place in 100 million to 200 million years. Yeah, I don't know if I would, count on that one, but whatever, right? Whatever they say. Mount St. Helens magma chambers recharging. More than 88 earthquakes rattled the dangerous volcano in the last 30 days instead of the 17 quakes reported normally on average. According to the PNSN, 88 earthquakes rattled Mount St. Helens in the last 30 days, as shown in the map below. They all lie within the crater, and you can actually see the map of Mount St. Helens where these earthquakes actually took place. Where they were about 17 of them, and they got 90 of them. So, that's in the Pacific Northwest too. So it says on average, not during eruptions or their precursors, they locate about 17 quakes a month. So 88 are a lot more, or a difference of 71 from the monthly average. These latest tremors hit a depth between 1.1 miles and 6.6 miles, with the majority of them being in the depth range of about 1 to 2.4 miles. These quakes are related to stress generated by magma recharge into the main crustal magma system. According to PNSN, such recharge seems to have taken place during the periods of 1989 to 91. See the question, it says, can someone